Okey dokey. Actually, my wife sent me an article. McDonald's closing down 700 stores, mainly in the U.S. Mainly, or maybe all, actually, in the U.S., while still opening stores across the globe. Now, who was the other one I talked about not that long ago that was doing the same thing? Subway, remember? Subway closes like, I forgot the number, 349 or 3 something. First time in its like 50 year, whatever the stat was, of having to do that. And I said, well, that's interesting, isn't it? They skated through the 2008, 2009 problem. Horrible economy, recession, without closing stores. And now all of a sudden they need to. Again, if you just look at the stock market, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Terror attack in the UK, which, again, highly suspicious timing, wouldn't you say? Seth Rich, DNC leaker stories, breaking news all of a sudden. Boom, terror attack, focus over there. Let's not attack with suicide bomber. Let's not attack during the show. Let's attack when everybody's leaving. When everybody's leaving, the least possible time someone would be recording a video on their phone. Because during the concerts these days, everybody has their phone out and they're recording pictures, everything. Let's wait till everybody's leaving. Most of the people are out. Then let's do the jihadi John style. There are so many red flags about this. I don't even want to get started. Again, I don't cover that crap anymore. I want to focus on other crap. Like, speaking of crap, this crap. McDonald's. Add them to the Burger King, to the Subway list. And franchisee owners, one of them actually called it, this is the depression. We're experiencing a depression, was actually quoted, but it's a little short of an article. I'm not going to include that. I just want to give you a little brief update on that. But I could do something that's necessary. And another one down, and another one down. Another one bites the dust. Or another 700 bites the dust. Anyways, back on tracker. Even though what I just said goes with this. The economic collapse blog, Mr. Michael Snyder, has a great article. And this is what I just said. Franchisee of McDonald's, this looks like we're dealing with a depression right now. But corporate has changed things around, and they're trying to get every last person come back to McDonald's. Back. Let's now do breakfast all day. Let's do breakfast all day. You want breakfast? No problem. We got you covered. And it still ain't working. It ain't working. Why? Because like the franchisee owner said, we're experiencing a depression here at this restaurant. That's what the kind of numbers and the kind of activity we're seeing here. But the markets are rallying, man. The markets are up, you bozo. What are you talking about, franchisee? What are you talking about? Look at the markets. This is a healthy economy. Go back inside and change some stuff around and get some new customers in here. Go stimulate your local economy. Every time I think about that, I think of that prick Obama. Remember when the oil spill happened and he was over there in Louisiana? They had to have these fake photos of him like they were swimming. Oh, everything's fine. We took a dip in the ocean. Or really the Gulf of Mexico. We took a dip in the Gulf. Look, there's the Obama family. No one was around to see it, though. And that prick said, well, let me go over here and stimulate the economy, referring to some local business they were going to go eat at or something, him and his entourage. Let me go stimulate the economy. That was his comment. You effing prick. Over the last 10 years, the U.S. economy has grown at exactly the same rate as it did when the Great Depression started in 1930s. What? How's that possible? The market is at an all-time high, you idiot. How is that possible? Jason, what the F are you talking about? Economic growth, GDP, right? I'm sure that's probably what he's going to get into. Over the last 10 years, the U.S. economy has grown. Again, that has to be GDP. At exactly the same rate as it did during the last depression in the 30s. You have to be kidding me, right? The housing bubble, it's all-time high. It's going to keep going, man. Get in now. Get in now. Hurry. Flip those houses, baby. Flip them. Flip it. Rub it, flip it, rub it down. Oh no. Motown Philly's back again. J-Snip 4's back again. Doing a little doomy rhyme. Anyways, even though I write about our ongoing long-term economic collapse every day, I didn't realize that things were this bad. In this article, I'm going to show you that the average rate of growth for the U.S. economy over the past 10 years is exactly equal to the average rate that the U.S. economy grew during the 1930s. And you got to understand something. Just because in case this is going through your mind, well, we didn't have 360 million, population in this country back then. But again, it's all percentage. GDP is a percentage. And if you had 10 people in your whole country producing goods and services, whatever, they would have a GDP reflecting some certain percentage. Period. And if that 10 turns to 100, turns to 1,000, turns to a million, it doesn't matter. It's the overall percentage that matters. It has nothing to do with the population amount or the, what the census tells us. Just in case anybody was wondering. Perhaps this fact shouldn't be that surprising because we already knew that Barack Obama was the only president in the entire history of the United States not to have a single year when the economy grew by at least 3%. Of course, the mainstream media continues to push the perception that the U.S. economy is in recovery mode. But the truth is that this current era has far more in common with the Great Depression than it does with times of great economic prosperity. Earlier today, I came across an article about President Trump's new budget from Fox News, and in this article, the author makes a startling claim. The hard fact is that the past decade's $10 trillion in deficit spending has produced the worst economic growth as measured by gross domestic product, again GDP, in our nation's history. You read that right. In the past decade, our nation's economy grew slower than even during the Great Depression. This stagnant, new normal, low-growth economy is leaving millions of working-age people behind who have given up even trying to participate, and has led to a malaise, where many people doubt that the American dream is attainable. Again, if you're a subscriber of mine for any length of time, more than like a day or two, matter of fact, maybe 2 days, you'd already got the hint. If you're a subscriber of mine from a day or less, like you joined today or a few minutes ago, you may not know this, but I'm going to keep you up to date and make sure you know it because your financial livelihood may depend on it. And you may need to find ways to protect your financial livelihood before all hell breaks loose. And as far as I can tell, the days are numbered. And because of that, I always tell people get into precious metals. That's like your life savings. Don't count on it to get rich quick. It's going to pay off very handsomely in the future. But if you do want to gamble on Wall Street, so to speak, stay away from Wall Street, get into cryptocurrencies, and trade and play with those, or buy and hold. You can do a buy and hold strategy on those, and it's doing phenomenally well, all of the coins. And at the end of this video, I want to tell you about a special deal at sdbullion.com. In case you want to get your hands on some silver, I'm 100% in silver, no gold, 100% silver. I got my stack, and then I had a little extra cash, things on the side, whatever, and said, I want to start playing with these cryptocurrencies. And that's kind of what I'm doing. But I understand in my mind that if I make the wrong move here for whatever reason, and they blow up and my money's gone, I'm not going to be awfully upset. That's what the money was for. I didn't dump my life savings in there. It was just a little gamble, bet on the side, etc. My real thing here is silver. Silver, silver, silver to the day I die. And I'm going to tell you a little special deal for JSNIP 4 subscribers, new customers at SD Bullion. You'll get basically a 10-ounce silver bar at spot price, no premium at all. New customers only from their site. Anyways, let's continue this horrible fact. It's a fact. It's truth. And truth, well, again, truth has no face, has no happiness, sadness. The truth is the truth. Do what you want with it. That's the key. Do what you want with the information. When I first read that, he says, I thought that this claim could not possibly be true. But I was curious, and so I looked up the numbers myself. What I found was absolutely astounding. The following are U.S. GDP growth rates for every year during the 1930s. And here it goes. 1930 minus 8.5, 31 minus 6.4, 32 minus 12.9, 33 minus 1.3, 34 positive 10.8, 35 positive 8.9, 36 positive 12.9, 37 positive 5.1, 38 negative 3.3, and 39 positive 8.0. It says when you average all of those years together, 10 years, you get an average rate of economic growth of 1.33%. That is really bad, but it is the kind of number that one would expect from the Great Depression. So then I looked up the numbers for our last 10 years, starting in 2007, going to 2016, 1.8%, 2008, minus 0.3%, 09, minus 2.8%, and then from here on out is all positive numbers. 2.5%, 1.6%, 2.2, 1.7, 2.4, 2.6, and 1.6 as of last year. And as you know, the first quarter of 2017, a paltry 0.6, I think, is where we're at, or 4 or 5 or 6, somewhere around there. Anyways, guess what? When you average these years together, you get an average rate of economic growth of, guess what? The same identical number, 1.33%. What are the chances that it's that freaking accurate? That they're the same. Not even 1.32 or 34, 1.33, both of those. I thought that was a really strange coincidence. And so I pulled up my calculator and ran all of the numbers again, and I got the same exact results. The 1930s certainly had more big ups and downs. Again, we had a 1934 and 35 and 36, 10.8%, 8.9%, 12.9%. I mean, but there were some big down ones too, right? Anyways, 1930s certainly had more big ups and downs, but the average rate of economic growth during that decade was exactly the same as we have seen over the past 10 years. And of course, the early 1940s turned out to be a boom time for the U.S. economy, while it appears that our rate of economic growth is actually slowing down. As I pointed out yesterday, U.S. GDP growth during the first quarter of 2017 was just 0.7%. So there's the number I was looking for. I thought it was 0.6. But you don't hear any talk like this on the mainstream news, do you? Instead, they tell us, ooh, child, everything's gonna be all right. Ooh, child, things will be fine. Or as he said, just peachy. Emily, want to come sing a duet with Daddy?
Yeah.
All right, come on, ready? Let's do this. Do it live. Do it live. Ready? It goes like this. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.
That's all I say?
That's it. Ready?
And then I'm gonna leave?
Yep. Ready?
Like, ooh, child, things are gonna get easier.
Easier. Ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Emily Chocolate. Emily Chocolate. Yeah. Coming to America, Eddie Murphy. It was actually sexual chocolate. I didn't want to say it. I'm trying to give you some little bit of comedy to cheer you up and make you giggle or something, because this news is horrible. To find this out, that this recovery has never been a recovery, and we dumped $10 trillion into this baby and pumped those banks up and TARP funds and $4.5 trillion in the Federal Reserve's balance sheet and all. We have nothing to show for it. 1.33%. That's worse than terrible. Ooh. I often wonder what things would be like right now if Barack Obama and his minions in Congress had not added more than $9 trillion to the national debt. By stealing all of that money from future generations of Americans and spending it now, Obama was able to artificially prop up the economy. If we were able to go back and remove $9 trillion of government spending from the economy over the past 8 years, we would be in a rip-roaring economic depression right now. For an extended analysis of this, please see my previous article entitled The Shocking Truth About How Barack Obama Was Able to Prop Up the U.S. Economy. And I will always link these articles that I talk about here in the description box. But even though we have been adding more than $1 trillion to the national debt each year, and even though the Federal Reserve pushed interest rates all the way to the floor during the Obama era, the U.S. economy has not grown by 3% or more on an annual basis since 2005. So in all fairness, right? 2005, that was all time, housing was starting to just get to the reach of the peak. Next year was like the peak, right? 06 or so? 07, that's 2 more years. And then we had 2008 problem. So how did we not have good economy 05, 6, and 7? It doesn't make sense, does it? Right. Because those horrible numbers started kicking in. That was your temperature gauge, your thermometer gauge telling you, recession problem imminent. No, everything's fine. Let's loan to people, ninja loans, liar loans, get everybody in a car, get everybody cars, get everybody houses. Let's just, yes. And then we're going to foreclose on them and give them to the banks. Right. When you take an honest look at the numbers, there is no way that anyone can possibly claim that the U.S. economy is doing well. The best that you can say is that we have been staving off a complete economic meltdown and another Great Depression. But of course, the measures that our leaders have been taking to do this have just been making our long-term problems even worse. I feel bad for President Trump because he has inherited the biggest economic mess in U.S. history. When we finally reach the point when it is impossible to artificially prop up the U.S. economy any longer, he is going to get most of the blame, but he won't deserve it. And I've said that for years. The next president will get the brunt of it because they're the ones in charge. They're the one who's on the front of the train, the conductor of the train, waving, "I'm the new conductor." But the train is going down the predetermined tracks that it was already set to a long time ago. It could have been Hillary, for God's sakes, and it would be no different. It is not going to be possible for Trump or anyone else to fix our system because it was fundamentally flawed from the very beginning. The Federal Reserve was designed to create an endless spiral of government debt, and since the day it was created, the U.S. national debt has gotten more than 5,000 times larger, and the value of the U.S. dollar has declined by around 98%. If we truly want to fix the economy, the Federal Reserve must be abolished. If I was President Trump, I would look to start issuing debt-free U.S. currency just like President Kennedy did in 1963 as soon as possible. And really, Abraham Lincoln, that's how he won the war. Watch the documentary The Secret of Oz by Bill Still. Phenomenal. Fantastic. It's so easy. It can be fixed instantly. You print money without borrowing into existence. That's it. Done. Simple. Nope. We must get these criminal central banks to lend us the money, and then we pay tax or interest on it. And why do we get taxed? IRS income tax? What's the lion's share of that goes right to paying that debt back. So why are they taking money out of all of our checks to pay back interest on this debt when they can actually print it for free? And if they print it for free and not borrow it, they don't ever have to tax you again. They don't have to do property tax. They don't have to do driver's license fees. You can say anything related to government. They just print the money to use it and pay the fee. There's no need to get you to cough up, we got these pensions and we need to raise property taxes again and we need to... Nope. Print the money. Done. Can't have that though, can we? Anyways, in addition, we need to push tax rates as low as possible. Personally, I would like to see the day when the personal income tax is completely eliminated and the IRS is shut down. The greatest period of economic growth in all of U.S. history was when there was no income tax and no Federal Reserve. Really? He has an article here that you can read about it. Let me say that again. The greatest period of economic growth in all of the United States history was when there was no income tax and no Federal Reserve. America once thrived in such an environment, and I believe that we can do it again. Of course, we need to also dramatically reduce the size and scope of the federal government. Our founders intended to create a very limited federal government, but instead the left has just kept pushing to make it larger and larger. Businesses all over America are being strangled to death by mountains of federal regulations, and if we could just get the government off the backs of the business community, we could start thriving again. There are quite a few government agencies that could be shut down entirely, and I think that the EPA would be a good place to start. Once upon a time, the United States showed the world the power of free markets and capitalism, and if we want to make America great again, we should go back and do the things that made America great in the first place. But would the American people be willing to go down that path? The answer is no, because the news would scare the life out of them, scare them to death. We can't get rid of income tax. Who's going to pay for that? Where do you think that money goes? Just complete bogus charts and lies and numbers like they always give to scare you and to say, no, we got to keep it the way it is. Unfreaking believable. Take care. Oh, whoa, wait. Got to give you the code, the key thing, in case you're a new silver stacker. And I do urgently urge you to get some if you don't have any. Whether you use this deal I'm about to give you or not, I don't care where you get it from. But SD Bullion, and it's in the link of my description box, sdbullion.com/jsnip4. It will take you to a landing page where you can buy I think it's called the Proclaim Liberty Bar, 10 ounces, 10 ounce bar, 1 bar, 10 ounce, at freaking spot price. No premium, no fee. Of course, you do have to pay shipping like anything, but the shipping is very, very, very cheap. So anyways, new customers for them anyways. It's a little special deal they gave me to give to my subscribers. So I do want to pass that along any chance I get. It is critical that we save ourselves from this kind of crap. That's how this ends. And precious metals do happen to have thousands upon thousands of years of history, as in 5,000-6,000 years of history of actually being money and saving people's bacon during bad economic times. And if this didn't show you some bad economic times, can you imagine? And, I don't know what will, but what's coming next? Now we've got to deal with all this printed money and debt. Again, every bubble has now blown even higher. This system has got to come crashing down. You don't want to be on the other side of precious metals when that day comes. I'll tell you that now. You won't be able. You will not be able to say, all right, well, if it comes down again, I'll try. Give me a second chance. There will be no second chance on this when it goes down. Flat out. Take care.